community. So we'll see. I'm actually not really sure about their stance, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
Agreed. Well, that unfortunately is all the time we have for the show. Thank you everyone who's been watching, listening, however you're consuming this. It was great to have you here. We're gonna go record our bonus members content, which will be about Donald Trump and something that smells a little funny in the courtroom. We're gonna be looking into that and having a little bit of fun. For everyone though, lots to come throughout the week. It was a pleasure having you here. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day, none other than Sharon Reed, host, commentator, and Rebel HQ contributor superstar. The Sharon Reed Show, fascinating analysis as always. All right, top story of the day. Donald Trump, former president of the United States, put it up full mass. Well, he is trying to utilize his cronies, his cult, in order to create more chaos. Per Mediaite, Donald Trump took to social media to urge his followers to protest at local courthouses all over the country, just like pro-Palestinian protesters, according to his narrative. On the morning that opening arguments are scheduled to start in his criminal trial for hiding hush money payments to women he is alleged to have had extramarital affairs before the 2016 election, Trump referenced the raft of pro-Palestinian protests, which have recently shut down many bridges in major US cities, before suggesting his supporters peacefully protest his treatment. Quote, America-loving protesters should be allowed to protest at the front steps of courthouses all over the country, just like it is allowed for those who are destroying our country on the radical left. A two-tiered system of justice, Trump posted on Truth Social Monday morning, just hours before his trial started. Now, I'm going to read the expanded version, but let me highlight some nuances here. If a gang leader, I don't know, maybe the gangsters who are being prosecuted in Fulton County, who are basically studio gangsters, rappers, if one of them says something like this, do you think they would be held in contempt? Do you think perhaps the DA would charge them with inciting? Of course. But Donald Trump is doing this because he knows they're not going to do a damn thing about it. You see, the only people holding Trump accountable are Black women and one Black male. Outside of that, Trump typically will push the envelope and then he will cross the barrier. Trump wrote, put it up full mass. Why are Palestinian protesters and even rioters allowed to roam the cities, scream, shout, sit, block traffic, enter buildings, not get permits, and basically do whatever they want, including threatening Supreme Court justices right in front of their homes? And yet people who truly love our country and want to make America great again are not allowed to peacefully protest and are rudely and systematically shut down and ushered off to faraway holding areas, essentially denying them their constitutional rights. America-loving protesters. Now, I want you to see this. He's utilized this twice now, okay? This is America-loving protesters, ALP, capitalized. This is a brand. When Trump does this, he's creating a new brand, all right? American or America-loving protesters. That is going to come back up again. Should be allowed to protest at the front steps of courthouses all over the country, just like it is allowed for those who are destroying our country on the radical left. A two-tiered justice system, free speech and assembly has been chilled for USA supporters. Go out and peacefully protest, rally behind MAGA, save our country. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Now, he contextualizes this as peaceful protest. He does that in order to avoid significant connection to the violence that may happen after his proclamation, because he knows fundamentally he's speaking to a violent group of people. He's talking to the same people that attempted to hang his own vice president of the United States. He's talking to the same people that wanted to rip the United States Constitution, overthrow democracy. So he doesn't have to say anything other than go. And he knows exactly what they would do. It is in their character. There's more. Some may recall when Trump called on his supporters to march at the Capitol, January 6, 2021. It was a terrorist attack. Peacefully, a riot broke out. He said, do it peacefully, but a riot broke out, led to pro-Trump supporters, convinced the election had been stolen by Trump, who then tried to stop the certification of the Electoral College. Trump has since added to his previous complaint with another post, this one comparing police actions at Columbia University dealing with death threats and the fact that he thinks it's unfair, so unfair, he says, that his protesters are unable to do that outside of his court trial. Here's what he said. Unlike at Columbia University, where the radical left Palestinian protesters, you see those capital letters again, radical left Palestinian protesters. Once again, this is a brand. He's creating a brand against this group while creating a brand for his. Sat on the front lawn, practically took over the school and screamed, death to the Jews, death to Israel, death to America. And nothing happened to them. Lower Manhattan surrounding the courthouse where I am headed now is completely closed down. So unfair. Keep this graphic up. You have a man who fundamentally does not understand freedom of speech. Now he's lying about the narrative. We understand that. But even if this whole thing is true, you have the right to use words. You also have the right to assemble. If people are sitting down, I don't know how you can be more peaceful than sitting down. He's complaining about protesters sitting. Here's the other dynamic. This is to the Christian evangelicals. If Donald Trump was innocent of the alleged crimes against him that are both moral, ethical, and also illegal concepts to his character, if he was innocent, why would he want people to stop him from going to court? If he did not fear the prosecutors, if he did not fear the judges, if he did not fear the evidence, why would he call on his supporters to do this? It's because he's guilty. It is because he's well aware he will likely be convicted. It is because his attorneys have already told him, you may not win this case if it actually goes to trial. Hell of a thing. Sharon, the man is gearing up for a takeover, and if he gets power again, anyone who tried to prosecute him, they're going to be arrested.
Yeah, they're gonna be rounded up. And the things that he is truth socialing about, he's actually describing the things that he's done to people
Correct.
who were peacefully protesting Lafayette Park. Remember that? Is that where he held the Bible upside down? It's nutty, it's a distraction. And yes, very astute to point out this new brand, the grift is coming, Doc, I think is what you're alluding to as he gears up for the run to take over again. We'll see. But I would think by now people would be on to it. If they're not, you've given them the blueprint.
Yeah. And there are people onto it. They simply want it to happen. They don't like democracy creating inclusion. They don't like democracy creating equitable outcomes. All right. Okay. We'll bring you updates as they come. Here we go again. Clarence Thomas. When I saw this headline, I said, this must be an SNL skit here. Put it up full mass. The man is questioning the very law that prosecuted people who tried to overthrow the United States government. During a recent oral argument, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas questioned the legal proceedings against Jan 6 Capitol terrorists. According to a CNN report, the conservative majority of the Supreme Court hinted on Tuesday that it might rule it is unconstitutional to apply a felony obstruction of an official proceeding charge that prosecutors have brought against more than 350 individuals of the more than 1,300 prosecuted for their involvement in the U.S. Capitol riot in 2021. The decision could compel the Justice Department to revisit many of those cases. Put it up full mass. Okay. They want to save people like this. Supreme Court justices heard arguments in a case involving a former cop out of Pennsylvania. His name is Joseph Fisher, whose attorney told the highest court that prosecutors applying a statute enacted in response to destruction of documents in the 2002 Enron corporate crime case, quote, overstepped by charging his client with what critics previously framed as an anti-shredding law, CNN reported. So multiple individuals have been indicted for their attempts to overturn Joe Biden's victory when he won the presidential election in 2020. On Monday, Thomas was not present for oral arguments, with the court declining to provide a reason for his absence, but he returned on Tuesday. Put it up full mass. He was collecting the check. That's where he was. Thomas has refused to recuse himself from cases related to the Capitol riot, despite his wife, Jenny Damn Thomas, her involvement in the event surrounding January 6th. He has faced criticism for his comments during the oral arguments as well, with some suggesting that his perspective might have been influenced by his wife's participation in the insurrection herself. If you believe, let's keep the picture up, damn it. If you believe that this man is not completely compromised at home, in his bank account, and in his moral judgment, let me give you a reminder.
3 days after Election Day, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas texted Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, urging him to keep fighting the results. Do not concede, Ginny Thomas wrote. It takes time for the army who is gathering for his back. That text is one of 29 between Mrs. Thomas and Mr. Meadows, which he provided to the January 6th committee last year, according to a person familiar with the material. Quote, help this great president stand firm, Mark, she texted on November 10th. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history. In other texts, Mrs. Thomas pushed debunked conspiracy theories and offers advice for the Trump team.
She was basically a co-conspirator. And I blame Democrats for not holding her accountable. She's a regular person. You could have made her testify, at least attempted. Perhaps she was involved in one of the grand juries. We don't know. I doubt it. Despite the calls for recusal, Thomas has disregarded those requests. You know why he can disregard it? Because the Supreme Court has no standards. Literally, they have no standards. It's the only court that has none. And put forth multiple questions that challenge the case. Quote, there have been many violent protests that have interfered with proceedings, Thomas questioned Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar on Tuesday, as reported by CNN. Quote, has the government applied this provision to other protests in the past? We got to stop now. Wait a minute. This was not a proceeding. This was democracy itself. Proceeding? And just because a law is rarely used, I've never heard the argument inside of a court that because it is not used often, that it is somehow unconstitutional. I remember when the FBI figured out how to prosecute the mafia, financial crimes, not paying taxes. And then they created the RICO Act, which eliminated a lot of the normative rules of evidence inside of a trial. These were first. Nobody said, well, wait a minute. nobody has utilized the law this way before. There's more. Numerous folk took to social media to raise concern following Thomas's comments in the case. Justice Thomas has suggested J6 legally is no different than any other violent attempt to disrupt official proceedings. Lawyer Mike Sachs wrote on X, it's totally inappropriate for Justice Thomas to be asking questions on this case, totally. His wife is an actor in the riot. And I would submit once again, she's not a participant, she's a leader. She was contacting the administration, the chief of staff, etc. Obviously, this is insanity, right? But they're telling you what they hope to plan, or at least believe may happen. They're planning for this. Trump coming back into power. You see, they're doing this, Clarence Thomas and others. We've already proven on record the man's a complete sellout in multiple ways. Billionaires, well, they got his card already. He wants to hold on to his power. And he also believes that if Trump gets into power and you are not his friend, you will lose the power that you have. He cares more about his personal proxy to power than our ability to progress as a nation. These are feckless cowards. These are not leaders. There is nowhere in the hell that this should stand. Sharon, you see the crumbling of democracy right in front of you.
Yeah. And as far as Clarence and Ginny go, I think Jay-Z and Beyonce had a song about it. I mean, he's down to ride to the very end, okay? Yeah. The new Bobby and Whitney. This is what they're doing. You probably know the lyrics better than I do, Doc, but that's their blueprint, okay? And what we're doing here, it's pretty obvious, but they don't really care to conceal it. It's not that they probably couldn't come up with something better to conceal things here, but why bother? Because they'll do it in plain sight and they'll get away with it. And that's what Clarence Thomas is doing. And you better believe at home, somebody's right in. He might have to wear an earpiece even when he leaves the house so she can direct his movements.
Exactly. Well said. All right. If you kill an unarmed Black child, basically, you get money if you are connected to the family of one who did so. Put it up full mass. Now, this is wild, but the wife and mother, okay, of Ahmaud Arbery's killers fundraises $40,000. I have to remind you of the incident that shocked the world. Here it is. Put it up full mass. I need to remind everyone, not only did they track him down, not only did they engage in hunting a human being. When the police arrived, the district attorney gave the order to cover it up. That DA was eventually charged with multiple felonies, arrested herself. Per Atlanta Black Star. Lee McMichael, the wife and mother of Greg and Travis McMichael, respectively, has launched a website countering, quote, media-driven narratives about her convicted family members and presenting her account of what happened the day the young Ahmaud Arbery was killed. The McMichaels are serving life sentences in prison. They've been convicted by a jury of their peers. They had due process. Ahmaud Arbery had no due process. They took it away, but they had due process. They're in prison because a jury convicted them. The McMichaels are currently in the process of appealing their federal hate crime convictions. However, even if a court decided to overturn those hate crimes and the conviction, they would remain in prison. Cell phone video captured the father-son duo chasing Arbery down in a truck. He was running through their South Georgia neighborhood before they shot and killed him. It's all on video. As Atlanta Black Star notes, his death was the launch pad for massive protests across the country just 3 months before the murder of George Floyd. I remember when this happened, myself and many of my radio listeners, we went to Brunswick, Georgia. We protested at the courthouse. We packed that place out. We had no permit. They need one. There was an injustice that needed to be responded to. The new DA who got elected actually ran as an independent. And the community was torn about this, not about the facts of the case, but the reality of the justice system engaging in a systematic cover-up that included multiple DAs and multiple police officers. There's more. In an attempt to present a lesser-known version of events, Miss McMichael started this website to counter the narratives that painted her husband and son as white vigilantes who murdered a black jogger out of racial motivation. On the site, she says what the family's defense attorneys argued in court, that the McMichaels believed that Mr. Arbery was criminally canvassing their neighborhood and attempted a citizen's arrest that went wrong. The website compiles short biographies about the McMichaels, a rundown of their trials and a timeline of events. All of this from the perspective of Miss McMichael, as well as an entire section that criminalizes the deceased. See, this is a very common narrative. It is defaming his character. One portion of it even mentions, quote, frequent yet unsubstantiated rumors that Arbery, after a spiked drink at a party, may have had his personality altered by some unknown substance. What? A rumor, according to the website. Well, she also wrote on the website, my personal experience, because obviously that's important. My personal experience since this story went viral tells me that it would be futile to spend time and energy trying to persuade those with a closed mindset that the public narrative driven by the mainstream media is at a minimum incomplete and at most a downright fabrication. I'll also provide any open-minded visitor to this site with information and evidence about Ahmaud's past, which culminated to his death on February 23rd, 2020. Multiple social media users reacted cynically, obviously, to the website's launch and the version of events posted by Ms. McMichael. Quote, we heard their side in court where they were convicted. They are exactly where they deserve to be, one Reddit user wrote. Quote, my husband and son are not racist. Is really just a sign that we have failed to convey a better understanding of what racism is and how it functions. Another commenter posted, since the death of Ahmaud Arbery, McMichael said her family, close friends, and neighbors have been harassed, intimidated, and at times threatened by people who seek to suppress the truth about the documented events that led up to Ahmaud's death. Now, here's the sick part. Put it up. Ms. McMichael also has made a request, those who are sympathetic to her family situation, to donate, to give, to send money, to go fundraise in order to help pay the legal expenses that they have incurred. The family owes about $60,000 in legal fees that could exceed over $250,000 because of the appeal. And guess what? She has already raised $40,000. Now, you may be saying, people are gullible. How can they believe what she's putting on this website? There's a video. There's a court transcript. There are text messages on the record. These people are racist. There was a cover-up by the DA. DA gets arrested. Everything about this is corrupt. A Republican attorney general in the state of Georgia is the one who saw this, and that Republican said, lock her ass up and lock the McMichaels up too. That's how egregious this is. That's how simple this is. And so I don't want you to think that people are gullible. They know the black male, the young black male Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. They know that. That's the reason they're giving the money. Not because they believe that the McMichaels are innocent, but because they know they are guilty. Do you see how far we have gone? Do you understand what's happening here? They are openly co-signing on the murder of innocent black people. Right there. You see, this isn't new in America. As a matter of fact, they used to hang black people in what was called a one-day trial and have a picnic and watch them die. Families would do this. Sharon, extreme, but this is the country we're in.
Why do you think that goofball, bowl-cut hair neighbor recorded it?
Right.
So he could have his own picnic.
That's
with
right.
his neighbors who are like-minded. When trash and vermin coalesce, disease permeates. The mother is a seed of disgustingness. This branch of the McMichael family is lower than cockroaches and full of racism. That's exactly what's going on here, and you're right. This is a bounty, this is a reward for shooting down a black man that they also know is no super Negro, okay? Just out for a jog, but this is what we're doing. Lock up Jackie Johnson. It's taking too long. Lock her up. But the mother's trash going there, not just appealing on the grandkids, her husband, her son, trash. You can't enlighten anybody about Ahmaud Arbery. This woman is disgusting.
Yeah, and the fact that she went into his alleged history and then creating rumors about this young man who's dead shows the extreme nature of their evil. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Today we're going to be speaking with Cenk Uygur, host of The Young Turks and also author of the new book, Justice is Coming.
Author of the brand new book that we have here, Justice is Coming.
How progressives are going to take over the country and America is going to love it.
His new book is out now, Justice is Coming.
Cenk Uygur, he's got a book out.
I encourage every progressive and non-progressive to read it.
Very interesting, very thought-provoking.
2 main ideas. 1, that progressives are correct on these kind of policy issues. And 2, America is actually a very progressive country.
And it's a powerful read.
This will be banned in Florida. By the way, that would be kind of awesome. There's no question we're going to win in the long run. The country's that progressive.
You have given me hope, Cenk.
I do see you as a voice of reason on the left, and I hope people will check out your book.
It's for outsiders, and it's for progressives and populists that are looking to overthrow this system.
You need this book in your house.
They tell you that change is not possible, hope is not possible, justice is not possible. Do not believe their lies. Change always wins, and then we take off like a rocket.
tyt.com/justice.
Welcome back. Very thankful for the opportunity to be recognized. It's really not about me, it's about the team. It's about you. It's about the movement and the platform of truth. We have been nominated for, a Shorty Award. Social activism category. We ask that you vote for the indisputable team at tyt.com/vote-IND. tyt.com/vote-IND. You can vote once per day until Friday, April 26th. That's when it closes. All right, very thankful. Okay, a lot of comments. I'll read as many as I can. Mo Fury says the difference, Lil Donnie Boo Boo, between pro-Palestinian. Where did y'all, is that like a new thing? Because I'm going to take this. Lil Donnie Boo Boo, that's what Donald Trump is called now. I love it. This is great. All right, put that on the t-shirt quickly, trademark it. The difference, Lil Donnie Boo Boo, between pro-Palestinian protesters and pro-Trump protesters is that pro-Palestinian protesters are speaking up for the innocent. Well done. Well done. That is so correct. Lynn, I agree, Dr. Ritchie, that Trump wants his base to protest because he is guilty, but Trump also needs his ego to be fed. Yeah, constant. You know, if you just stop talking to Trump, Trump will probably cease to exist. if you start responding to him. He needs attention that much. It's like his energy, his food. Yep. Mongoose Dragon, I watched the entire trial of that father, son, and friend who murdered Ahmaud Arbery. It was disgusting. That's right. Snack_Panther gifted 5 indisputable memberships. Thank you for that. Welcome Otto the Chat, Diane Starr, half a brick and a Pyrex pot. Brian F. and Terrence Thompson, welcome. All right. And Librio gifted 5 indisputable memberships. Thank you for that. Welcome Naomi. LaShawn Lewis, welcome. Make Me Laugh Too, welcome. Moving Death, welcome. And Rhino B, welcome. John White, welcome to Indisputable. And James Thompson gifted 10 indisputable memberships. Thank you. Welcome, OG Blockchain. I like that. Lucifer the Wolf, AKA Sanghalai Dragon. Somebody give me a pronunciation key next time. My apologies for mispronouncing. Gail Doder, Tracy Porter, Joanne Ada K, Grant, Funk Dragon 76, Keep It Real TV, and Anna Noodle. All right, we appreciate everybody. It's a team effort. Thank you so much. I got something for you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free. Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hey, guys. I'm not trying to open up your door, dude. I'm just at your door.
Okay, how can I help you?
You guys are screaming so loud, the whole neighborhood, 911. The cops are about to call in. I don't want to do that.
Give a we is that our house, lady? Don't you dare come to my house. Go on and get on.
No. I'm not trying to be that.
No. What you doing over here? No. Don't touch my door.
Sweetie, look at me.
I don't care. What is y'all doing over here? We is in our home that we own, and my family is having a good time. What the hell you doing at my door? You get your drunk ass away from my door. Yes, you.
Hold on. Okay. I'm a criminal defensive.
I don't give a who you ain't. You slurring like that, you ain't not a criminal offense attorney.
Do your job.
Go ahead.
What is y'all calling the police for?
But why are you calling the police?
Wow. We actually have more video. Here it is.
Huh?
Why should you talk about
Because you're walking by. It doesn't matter. We're not. Hey, hold on. You're gonna explode. Mario,
don't worry about it.
Mario, hold on. Mario.
Go.
Mario.
Get off. Go.
Mario.
Grab Mario. No, don't grab me for
Hey.
your drunk ass on. You too, go.
No, you're on my property. You're trespassing. Get off my property.
Call not.
Get off my property. You guys get. You are trespassing. The problem is that you're drunk. No, you walk off with her.
You get on too. No, you can't. You on my property.
We're not out here doing anything.
No, take your code 45 and get the
Get off my property.
Now. Code 45 and get the out of here.
Get off my property.
No.
Enjoy your walk and go.
Laughing while black. Put up the picture full mass. Now, this is insane, specifically because they were laughing in their home. This woman heard the laughter of Black people and said, "This is criminal. I must stop it." I want to say this to the family who was harassed and basically taunted by this Karen. You only have to say, leave my property one time. Now, after they choose to not leave your property, you have the right to enforce trespass. You can physically remove them. Definitely an opportunity here, okay? You all are very patient, very good people, obviously. When this was posted, it read, 2 Karens had the nerve to come to my house to tell us we were laughing too loud in our home. Now, I want you to understand, there may be a contributing factor here. Keep that picture up. Do you see what's in her left hand? You see that big ass cup? I don't think that's apple juice. It's likely malt liquor. And this Karen, who obviously was intoxicated according to the narrative, came up to the door to tell people they are laughing too loud. You know, the word privilege just doesn't seem hard hitting enough for this situation. So, Sharon, I'm going to ask you, we have to now make up another word. We got to call Webster. We got to put another word in the dictionary because this goes well beyond privilege here. This is something else.
Yeah, this family needs to get themselves an attack dog as well, okay? I don't know what was in the Kool-Aid, but it was definitely spiked. Definitely spiked. Here you had a family dog that was, I already know what was going on inside because I'm Black. They're playing spades. They're enjoying family. That's all they're doing. And I don't know why you're coming on. It's bad enough you have to oppress and hurt Black people. And I believe that's exactly who this Karen and those who fellowship with her do. But now we can't even laugh. We can't even have a chuckle with our kinfolk because that is now, as you said, against the law, laughing while Black.
Yeah.
Look at your life, America. You better look at it.
I hope they went inside and laughed at her ass for a long time. Okay, all right. So a U.S. Senator, Tom Cotton, has encouraged people to kill protesters. Here it is.
I have to say, Sandra, I agree with you that you have to get to these criminals early. If something like this happened in Arkansas on a bridge there, let's just say I think there'd be a lot of very wet criminals that have been tossed overboard, not by law enforcement, but by the people whose road they're blocking. If they glued their hands to a car or the pavement, well, probably pretty painful to have their skin ripped off. But I think that's the way we'd handle it in Arkansas. And I would encourage most people anywhere that get stuck behind criminals like this who are trying to block traffic to take matters in their own hands. There's only usually a few of them, and there's a lot of people being inconvenienced. It's time to put an end to this nonsense.
Put up the picture, full mass. Now, Senator, I usually don't do this, sir. But you look like the last fella who will run up on somebody because they are blocking traffic. You are encouraging people to take the law into their own hands. You are encouraging people to basically toss individuals off a bridge. What you're saying is criminal, sir. You cannot utilize deadly force for something that is simply an inconvenience. That is illegal. Per NBC News, Senator Tom Scott doubled down last week on those comments, urging people delayed by traffic stemming from pro-Palestinian demonstrations to forcibly remove protesters who are blocking streets. Cotton referred to the protesters blocking the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco as criminals during a Fox News interview Monday, suggesting they would have been treated differently had the protest happened in his home state of Arkansas. No, they wouldn't. Sir, you won't bust the soft side of a grape, sir. But let me say this, the irony, the hypocrisy. So you have this senator saying, oh my goodness, these are criminals are blocking traffic. And then if you ask him about January 6th, the terrorist attack on the Capitol, those were very good people who really love America, and they're really frustrated about the direction of this country. You see what happens here? There's more. Cotton told NBC News last Tuesday, absolutely, I support people if they're blocked by traffic by pro-Hamas vigilantes in the street, which, by the way, we haven't seen that. They should get out of their cars. They should move them to the side of the road. and they should let traffic continue. Asked whether he was calling for violence against protesters, Cotton said he wasn't. Quote, I'm saying that if people are trying to get to work or pick up their kids from school or take a sick kid to the doctor, and you have pro-Hamas vigilantes blocking the streets, they should get out and move those people off the streets, Cotton said. The police will get there eventually, but a lot of damage will be done in the meantime. He just said he's not calling for violence, so damage sounds like violence to me. So let's take him, let's put him, I don't know, let's pick a year, 1962. Let's put him in 1962. He's the same person saying in 1962 that Black people who are disrupting processes, who are disrupting restaurants, disrupting public transportation, he's the same guy telling white America to violently attack them. He's the same person, okay? Same person. You see, it's not a protest if somebody is not inconvenienced. That's the whole dynamic of protest. But it's amazing how we switch the narrative. We call white people protesting taxation the Boston Tea Party. No, that was an attack, but it's called the Boston Tea Party. The narrative somehow changed because of the historical record that's told. All right, so Cotton last Monday put this up. He wrote on X, I encourage people who get stuck behind the pro-Hamas, once again, branding that is not congruent to the facts, mobs blocking traffic, take matters into your own hands to get them out of the way. It's time to put an end to this nonsense. Why don't you do something? What you gonna do? Telling everybody else what they need to do in order to incite violence, sir. And obviously, nobody follows you or really believes in you because nobody's done it. I haven't seen anyone run up yet. All right, protest over the war in Gaza closed down the Golden Gate Bridge for roughly 5 hours on Monday. 26 people were arrested, others charged with conspiracy because of the coordinated protest. NBC Bay Area reported demonstrations were also held in other cities nationwide, such as Chicago and New York City. Per a CBS News report on Friday, Advance Democracy, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization that conducts public interest research, says it found that there was or there has been a surge in calls for violence against pro-Palestinian protesters across social media platforms after Cotton's comments with users threatening to kill or injure protesters. Now, they continue to say pro-Palestinian, but what you will really find is that these individuals are pro-humanitarian. The reason why they are pro-Palestinian is because the Palestinians are the ones who are being slaughtered. And they are calling for a humanitarian effort, diplomacy. And many of those who are being killed are children. They are under the age of 14. There's more. The report found many threats were in direct response to Cotton's post, as well as to right-wing accounts and personalities who shared the post online, including Fox News commentator Sean Hannity. Run them over. Once again, completely against the law. You will go to jail for that. They've tried it before, by the way, and successfully did kill one. One user wrote on Truth Social, the social media platform owned by Trump Media, which is majority owned by former President Donald Trump. They are terrorists and should be shot, another one said. Others suggested mugging, hanging, executing, zip tying, and throwing the protesters off of bridges they are occupying. The counter-protesters, who sometimes glue their hands to roads, one user on the far-right social media site, Getter, suggested that their arms be ripped off or that they should have their hands cut off. I promise you they will call themselves Christians. They will go to church on Sunday, Bible study on Wednesday, and call for murder on Thursday. You know, it's real simple. You ever taken a picture, a group picture before? And when you look at the group picture, the question is, hey, do you like the picture? What do you do? In order to determine if it is a good picture or not, what do? You look for yourself in the picture. And if there's 10 people in this picture and 9 of them look great, but you look horrible, guess what? You will say, this is a bad picture. Are you willing to retake the picture? Can you be inconvenienced for 60 seconds to retake the picture so that everybody looks beautiful, so that everybody looks their best? That's the issue here. People are unwilling to engage or endure a minor inconvenience so that we all have a beautiful presentation. Sharon, thoughts here?
I mean, if you don't disrupt people, who's going to really pay attention, right? We'll just go about our daily lives. But Senator Cotton's a throwback, probably would prefer to live in his famed, beautiful Arkansas back in 1919. The Elaine massacre of 1919, when this poor Black sharecropper said, would you mind paying us fairly for our cotton? And hundreds were killed by white mobs, racist. They took matters into their own hands. So I do believe that he longs for a time when Arkansas was great again. And that's really what he's doing here. He's a fool who's had some remarkable things to say about slavery as well, as I'm sure you recall, Dr. Ritchie. It's Hannity. Okay. All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. These folks are trying to spark a civil war. All right. And it's sad, but it's right in front of us. And that's the reason engagement is necessary. And I need Biden and Harris administration, I need them to get their heads out of their ass. I need that to happen quickly because we say every year, Sharon, this is the most important election of our lifetime. But damn it, we mean it this time. Like this time, this is the most important election period, in my opinion. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay.
I'm wearing one of our pieces of merchandise. So the funny thing about the Dragon Squad, and that's what our viewers call themselves. That's the name of the group, but every individual chooses their own name. You might have Cincinnati Dragon. You might have Harry Potter Dragon. We have a Grandma Sunshine Dragon is one of those that I remember. These are people that like to have an element of themselves, their lives, what's significant to them reflected as a part of the community. But the concept of the Dragon Squad is just something I threw away as a joke. I was mocking the Proud Boys, these like right-wing groups that come up with a name for themselves that they think is cool, but it's actually really lame. And I thought, off the top of my head, I can come up with something that's still kind of lame, but much cooler. And so I threw out Dragon Squad and I just moved on with my life. But everybody liked it, and so they kept it going, and so we've embraced it. And I think again, this was during the period of the pandemic. I think it was sort of nice to have a renewed sense of community, a feeling that you're a part of something when everything seems so chaotic. And as a result of that, we've got independent artists online streaming, making beautiful digital art of dragons. We've got, we've released a number of pieces of merchandise that people love sending us photos of them. And then, by the way, for me personally, people send me, like you can probably see in the background, like a knitted dragon someone sent me. There's a dragon book they sent me, dragon board games they send me. People have done like custom ironworks, making dragon bottle openers. Like the fans are super invested in diamond art and things like that. And so it's great that they send this stuff. Sometime we're gonna have to set up a wall of all of it. But yeah, it's definitely brought the community a lot closer together. The fact that we were no longer in this big studio, I felt a lot more personally attached to people. It felt very immediate. And I know that I personally needed the connection.
All right, welcome back. A lot of show left. Okay, well, sad as hell. Brian McKnight. Put it up full mass here. Okay. Brian McKnight's son, Nico McKnight, came forward to explain that he has been trying to tell the world that his father is not a great guy. Nico is 28, and his father, they have been on the outs since he was 22. Around the time the R&B singer says he cut him off. So the young Nico and his brother, Brian Jr., are the children Brian McKnight shares with ex-wife Julie McKnight, whom he was married to from 1990 to 2003. McKnight also fathered another child, Brianna McKnight, outside of his marriage with a woman named Patricia Driver and a son named Clyde with an unknown woman. Today, the only children the singer acknowledges are Julia McPhee, Jack McPhee, and Brian Keone McKnight, the children he shares with his wife, current wife, whom he married in 2017. Julie and Jack are Lee Laney's children from a previous relationship, but McKnight has adopted them as his own. Now, plot twist. Here's an example of how he views his estranged children.
So lastly this week, I want to big up my man right here. See, he gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related. We want everyone to live a life that you love. Our hashtag, that's what it means. Hashtag I love our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many angry and upset and negative people out there. We want to use our platform as a place of positivity. So look, here's another somebody asking about my one and only daughter, Julia, asking about how she feels about a post about her graduation. Well, how do you think she feels? She feels great. See, Julia understands the scriptures. Exodus 20:12, where it says, and I quote, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. See, she honors us, and in turn we honor her because she knows how proud of her we are. And here's something, if you're going to leave snide comments, at least allow us to tag you when we reply. It's so cowardly, but.
Put up Brian McKnight's photo again. I'm no coward, sir. You are. While you're quoting scripture and calling your children evil, let me remind you that the Bible says, suffer not the little children, for they shall lead them. And a child shall lead them. That means that children provide some of the greatest lessons in our journey called life. You failed to learn them. McKnight would gain criticism online for his tasteless videos about his family. Let's put it up. Pac 1913 said, the same God that said, honor your father and mother, also said, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. And train up a child in the way he should go. And in his older age, he will not depart from it. Your children are a reflection of the work and prayers and spirituality and moral compass that parents pour into kids. You disown kids that you created, and you are also against God, but judgment day is between you and your maker. So carry on. Brian McKnight responded, God wasn't talking about children that are the product of sin, which these are. 2, I didn't raise them. Their mothers did. 3. What? A product of sin. Sir, the only person who would have committed a sin, which means separation from God, is you. Your children did not. Following McKnight's making those headlines for his harsh words toward his offspring, Nico took to the comment section of the Shade Room to blast his estranged father. Quote, "I'm evil? Question mark. That's wild. The guy who used to make me clean his used condoms out of his bathroom at 15 before Lisa got home is calling me evil," said Nico. "The guy who forged SIGs on our names is calling us evil for sure." Nico's response weren't limited to Instagram. The second oldest McKnight child also took to X to thank his supporters for having his back throughout the entire ordeal. Quote, "Thank you guys for finally seeing that we weren't lying," he wrote, admitting that he wasn't always the perfect son. "I will always admit I was spoiled beyond belief. But I'm doing all I can do to correct my flaws." It's one of the saddest things I've seen because it's like death from a million paper cuts, you know? I want to say this to the children who have been adversely affected by this cynical, narcissistic individual. Whatever you're carrying inside of you that he put in you was never your fault. It was never you. Clearly, we can see his flaws and his unwillingness to correct them. You see, the journey of humanity is the journey of flaws. We all are imperfect. But you have done something he has failed to do. You, Nico, you said, "I am working on me." God bless you, man, because you are demonstrating how to break the cycle that this man created. Sharing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, God bless these children. The hell with their adolescent father. Okay, I don't even know if I want to call him that. Brian McKnight is unwell. The part that is stomach turning, I won't be able to eat for the rest of the night, is that he seems to be enjoying inflicting so much heartbreak and pain. And I'll say this finally, Doc. I believe you separate art from the artist unless you are a chart-topping R&B love song hit maker. I can't listen to this. It's not about love. This man is evil. I can't listen to Brian. I love Brian McKnight's music until I learned who Brian McKnight is.
Yeah,
this
same
is who
here.
He is. I can't do it.
So sad. All right. Sharon, always a pleasure having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Thank you, Doc. At Sharon Reed Live across all platforms in the Black Network, as well as Rebel HQ, my baby. I hope you will check out my offerings. Released a couple videos this weekend and more to come.
You do such a great job. We appreciate all you do. All right. The Bullpen is next. Stick and stay. Let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bullpen.
This guy thinks I'm stealing.
You got items on you, and I need those items back. If you do not give me those items back, you're going to be detained and you're going to go to jail.
Don't touch me.
They seen you on camera.
See me on camera doing what?
I have a job to do. It's not personal.
It is personal because you're accusing me of stealing.
They watched you on camera.
Watch me on camera.
They watch you on camera.
Bring up the footage.
They're telling me right now that you have items on you.
Bring up the footage.
They're telling me right now you have the items.
Bring up the footage, please.
So here's the deal, okay? I'm gonna work with you, okay? If you give me the items, this is it. This is your only chance. This is your only chance.
I literally. Okay, let's go talk to the guy then. Don't tell me what to do. Who are you? Look at these people accusing me of stealing. So who here called the police on me? Because apparently. Okay, so
they're saying you have items on you, and I have to check you.
What items? I'm here literally for my Adderall prescription.
Here's what I need. Okay, we can make a big deal if you want to.
Make it a big deal.
For the camera.
It's either you're calling the police.
No, ma'am. That's not how it works. You don't get to make the rules. You don't dictate what happens here, okay? So here's what's going to happen, okay?
Whatever.
You're going to show me that you have nothing in your pocket.
I'm not showing you because I don't have anything.
Then you're going to get detained.
I literally got off from work from Amazon.
And that's just how it works.
You're accusing me.
Listen, I'm not accusing you. They're accusing you, and I have a job to do.
Who's they?
My management, my superiors,
Bring
store
them down
manager.
here,
Listen,
then.
here are your choices. You need to show me that there's nothing in your pockets because they're saying that there's stuff in your pockets. Stop walking away. Stop walking away.
Or what?
You're going to get detained, and you're going to go to the ground.
And you're going to get sued.
And you're going to get sued. Prophetic, actually. We have the victim of that aggression, Meika Prince, on the program today, and her attorney, Attorney James Prescott. They are both here. Thank you for joining the Bullpen. Thank you for being on Indisputable. How are you?
I'm good.
You know, let me go to this statement that you provided us at Indisputable first. On March 27th, 2024, Brian Vinegar, that is the security officer here, misused the limited power and authority granted to him as a security guard, leading to actions we contend include assault, battery, false imprisonment, and violations of Washington state law against discrimination. Our lawsuit aims to investigate how he was entrusted with such authority and to hold accountable those responsible for enabling his conduct. I agree. I think this is probably a negligent retention dynamic here as well. So let me first go to you, Ms. Prince. Can you give us in your own words what happened that day, and also start prior to the recording? I know there was something that went down prior to the recording, but give us the full context of what happened.
Yeah, it was just a day I got off of work. I was running errands. I stopped into Walgreens to pick up my prescription. It wasn't ready. This is a 2-floor Walgreens. The only exit's on the first floor. So I headed towards the first floor to exit. And that's when I encountered who I now know as Brian Vinegar, who then kind of positioned himself in front of the door. So I wasn't able to leave. When he told me to empty my pockets because he thought I was stealing, I then was told that it was the manager who told him that. So because I was only on the second floor at that time, because that's where the pharmacy was, I went back to the second floor and he followed me all the way up the escalators, calling me names, calling me a thief, and continuing on with him telling me to empty my pockets. And as soon as I got to the second floor, that's where the recording started.
You are a software engineer.
Yes.
And your response was so on point. It was unapologetic. You were secure. You were sure of your rights and your innocence. During that time, did you have fear of what was happening?
Yeah, I was scared for my life. In the video, I told him to call the police. He wouldn't call the police. He never told me he was security. In the video, I asked blatantly, "Who are you?" He doesn't identify himself to me. I didn't know who this man was up until the point police had arrived after I had called them. I was in fear this whole interaction.
And that's a point we made during the breakdown of this on the show. You called the police. He refused to, basically. You called the police. When the police got there, what did they say to you?
When the police got there, I explained to them the situation and I told them I wanted to make a police report. After they had kind of helped me leave Walgreens safely, they got my information and they got his information, which is the only reason I found out he was a security guard working there. They told me what company he had worked for.
Mm-hmm. Now, when the police came, were they hell-bent on checking you for stolen items like this security officer was?
No. I think they kind of realized the situation that Brian Vinegar had caused. And I think after they kind of met with me and I told them what had happened, there was no suspicion that I was stealing. So they did not even ask me to empty my pockets.
Let me go to Attorney Prescott. Attorney Prescott, typically when something like this happens, you have a loss prevention officer or security guard making a claim. Police come, regardless of how they get there, they are there now. There's some level of evidence presented, maybe a video, maybe an actual eyewitness that says, I saw A, B, and C happen. Now you have your reasonable suspicion, right? So did any of this happen when police arrived?
By the time police arrived, it was pretty clear that this wasn't a shoplifting incident anymore. This was just a woman being harassed. Now, the steps that you're describing really should have happened before the police even got there, because Washington has laws that protect merchants from lawsuits just like ours when they attempt to conduct a reasonable investigation of a theft incident. But the word reasonable is used in that law 6 times. Needs to be reasonable grounds to believe that she was stealing. She has to be detained in a reasonable manner, and the investigation must be completed in a reasonable time. There's nothing reasonable about Brian Vinegar's behavior.
And let me follow up with this. He mentioned that they saw her do it, and he also mentioned that basically she could not tell him, let me see your manager, right? And so he's blocking her movement, et cetera. What violations are happening at this time, attorney?
Well, it's the same violation that occurs anytime you're blocking someone's right to leave a place. I mean, ultimately, it's false imprisonment. Now, security guards do have a right to perform a reasonable investigation, but it's not reasonable and there's no basis for it. That's all that was occurring. This is no different than any other customer deciding that he's going to stop her trying to leave, harass her, and follow around the store. And in a way, that's the way we're treating it. It's just another customer who decided to harass her, who happened to be doing it under the authority of Walgreens and ASC Security.
And Ms. Prince, you are right. He never says, I work for Walgreens. I am a security agent here working under the contractor A, B, and C. He never said any of those things.
Never.
At any point, did a manager say, we saw you steal something?
No one came to my defense, even after I was asking other people shortly after the video recording ended to call the police.
Was he lying, Attorney Prescott, about the manager or management of Walgreens witnessing a theft?
I don't know what's in Brian Vinegar's heart. One of the reasons why we filed a lawsuit quickly was so that we can start doing discovery. We can have some subpoena power while memories are still fresh. That's definitely going to be a question I have for Mr. Vinegar.
And at any point, was there a video produced of anything?
Not to us.
Okay. So according to the last report, the security guard's actions were reviewed and they said he did not meet company policy, so they let him go. At this level of the litigation, who all are you suing, Attorney Prescott?
So we're suing Brian Vinegar individually, but more so ASC Security and Walgreens. And if I can speak to that a little, what I see here is more than just a bad actor. It's a systemic failure. Walgreens has men who look like extras from the movie Civil War, harassing young women as they try to leave the store. And what really strikes me about this video is how he tries to use this little sliver of authority against her and how comfortable he is threatening her with the police. It's an abuse, and I think that police reporters should be as offended as anyone by this.
And I agree with you. I concur. Ms. Prince, how has this scenario, the situation, changed you?
It makes me extremely fearful to go out alone, knowing just anybody could walk up on me and kind of threaten me and force me to stay in a place that I'm trying to leave. So I've been struggling to leave my house. Of course, I changed pharmacy, but like as I work through that, who knows how long this is going to take me to heal from, because this was a terrifying encounter. I didn't know who this man was, and he was threatening me this whole encounter.
Yeah. And to the point of Attorney Prescott, the man looks like he's SWAT. I mean, he has all of these. I mean, I'm not a cop, don't want to be, but all of this seems to be for the sake of intimidation. And naturally, this would be a scary situation for anybody to have somebody run up on them with all of this gear on, telling them that they are going to search them. Now, do we know the why? Because once you eliminate the things he said, management told me, well, no, we don't have that on record. There's a camera. Nope, we don't have that on record. What is the why? Why did he do this?
You know, at this point, I'm a lot more concerned with how. I think Brian Vinegar's actions speak for themselves. I want to find out how he got in a position where he was able to do this to her. The why will come out, but the how involves the people who empowered him.
Has there been a response, affirmative response, other than from the security company who said the bogus mess about we have 1,500 hours of blah, 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 it's a bunch of BS. Has there been a real response that seems authentic and that advocates for the customer and the adverse experience that we all know she had?
No.
That's a damn shame. Ms. Prince, you have changed pharmacies, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you were engaged in this back and forth, you knew your rights. You knew you did nothing wrong, and you knew you did not have to show anything.
Correct.
Where does that background for you come from?
Well, I come from a long line of men who served this country. My father has, my grandfather has, my great grandfather has. So they kind of instilled growing up pretty much how I should be aware of my rights and how I should practice that, especially when I'm out in public. So when Brian Vinegar approached me, I knew, of course, I didn't have to show him because that's my right to. I don't have to show him what's in my pockets. So yeah.
Yeah, your strength was evident in that moment. Very proud of your leadership. And I think you taught some other folks some things as well about their rights. Attorney Prescott, there's some nuance in state law about what security officers can and cannot do. Can you explain some of the things that were reasonable or unreasonable about the approach of this security guard?
Certainly. So first of all, there needs to be reasonable grounds to believe that something was stolen. And in this case, we don't see indication that there were such a grounds. Our impression is that he was not being honest when he said that management told him she had been stealing. He's claiming that there was video footage of it. We don't know how he would have had access to that. Generally speaking, we do not believe that there is a reasonable basis. Next is that they must be detained in a reasonable manner. And this phrase reasonable in this context is pretty subjective. If you had a very large, erratic individual with several bags of stolen items trying to leave the store, the method that you would investigate him might be different than if you had a, frankly, very physically small young woman without any visible merchandise on her trying to leave the store. And so, again, it is a subjective, but I think clearly the line was crossed in this manner. Finally, as to the reasonable time, they're given enough time to get a statement from them, to contact law enforcement if necessary. He had more than enough time to do all of that. Instead, he devoted his time to following her around and harassing her. And that speaks to motivations that may or may not have had to do with whether or not she actually stole something.
How long was he a security officer for that Walgreens? Do we know?
Still figuring that out.
Okay. And do we have any indication of his work history, any complaints against them in particular?
I have received some indication that there may have been prior incidents with Mr. Vinegar, but that's not something I've confirmed firsthand, and definitely something we'll want to look into.
Yeah, well, Attorney Prescott, you are doing the due diligence part that you're supposed to do. Great representation for Ms. Prince. Ms. Prince, I'm going to allow you to have the final word here because I think it's important that you continue to empower others through your voice, because you could have been a victim to this insanity, violation of rights, etc., but you stood up for yourself. What would you say to individuals, especially women, who may face something like this in their future?
I would say record. Pull out your phone and record, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know how that person may try to portray you when law enforcement does come. So my advice would be record and document everything.
Very practical, very well said. Thank you both for being on the show. Naturally, we're going to update this story as updates come.
Thank you, Dr. Rich.
Absolutely. All right. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.